Welcome to Eyesore Cinema Recommendations. I'm Justin the Clue, and this is
Nate Wilson.
Little Nate Wilson.
Nate Wilson.
Little Nate Wilson.
Bigger than Justin.
So, what do you have to recommend today?
Road Games. It's an Australian exploitation movie. It's part of the Australian thriller, Hitchcockian thriller. Sort of like Rear Window out of the front seat of a truck. It's directed by the really underrated Richard Franklin, who I think maybe a little bit better than Brian De Palma when it comes to Hitchcock imitators.
Whoa! I think it stars Stacy Keach.
Yeah, it stars Stacy Keach and Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis is really fantastic in it, and it's like a super charming movie. In like the middle, there's a huge section where they just talk. But they're totally not bored, and it totally doesn't slow down like the pace.
Australian thriller is like Rear Window.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what makes Richard Franklin, I think, a little bit above Brian De Palma is that he uses Hitchcock's like movie-making devices to tell his own stories, rather than Brian De Palma, who like cuts up Hitchcock's movies, puts them in a hat, and takes them out and goes, "Bam! I have a movie."
He's been waiting to say that for months since he saw Road Games.
Yeah,
he wrote on a piece of paper. Yeah. I'm gonna recommend Rabies, and it's actually a take on the slasher film. But what would happen if all the characters in a slasher film got thrown into the forest, and then the slasher film character got taken out like 10 minutes in, and yet all these victims end up all killing each other anyway, because just human nature comes out.
Tucker Dale versus Evil.
Kind of like Tucker Dale versus. It's still comedic, but the laughs are much more darker than the broader Tucker Dale versus Evil.
Yeah.
I saw it at the Fantasia Film Festival, and it went out over like gangbusters. One of the side plots is in the forest they're in, there's mines, and they're like, some of them are still active, and like the characters are afraid that if they walk into a specific zone that they're gonna step on a mine. So there's always that like, the bomb under the table, speaking of like Hitchcock again.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Alright, and now we're gonna go to Keenan, who has more suggestions.
Thanks, guys. The movie that I'm going to talk about is Boxing Helena. This is directed by David Lynch's daughter, Jennifer Lynch, or Jennifer Chambers Lynch, because she's really eccentric and needs to use her middle name. This is a really bizarre movie. It's not quite a drama, it's not quite a thriller, but it's definitely the product of the Lynch family. It stars Julian Sands and Sherilyn Fenn. Sherilyn Fenn took the role only after Kim Basinger was going to do it, and she backed out at the last minute, which caused Jennifer Lynch to sue her. What happens in it is Julian Sands is obsessed with Sherilyn Fenn's character, and to the point where he continuously invites her over, throws parties just so she'll come, at which point she dances in the fountain and he, you know, orgasms all over the place. What ends up happening is she goes outside and gets run over by a car, and he brings her in. He's a doctor. And rather than taking her to the hospital, he's like, "I want to keep her here." So he amputates both of her legs. Kind of inspired by this Venus de Milo statue he has in his place. And basically, I recommend it if one, you like David Lynch movies, and two, you like movies that don't work, and you're curious as to why they thought it would be a good idea, and why they would edit it and shoot it in this way. And now back to you guys.
Wow, thanks Keenan! Remember, that's 801 Queen Street West, upstairs.
and we've got lots of great
movies!
Woo!
I feel like I'm video game and arcade top 10.